So I'm going to read from the Bhagavad Gita, and this is chapter 17. And this is a few shlokas, but I'm going to just read them all. So, chapter 17, the 14th verse, starting with that. Veneration of the devas, the priestly, the gurus, and the wise, purity of heart and deed, straightforwardness, sexual restraint, harmlessness. These are considered the austerities of the body. Speech that is pleasant, beneficial, and truthful without being offensive. The repetition of japa and recitation of the scriptures. These are called the austerities of speech. Even-mindedness, cheerfulness, kindliness, serenity, self-control, purity of heart, meditative communion with the true self. These are said to be the austerities of the mind. This threefold austerity of body, speech, and mind is sattvic in nature. It is practiced by persevering seekers who are blessed with deep devotion, who desire not the fruits of their actions. We're going to read a little bit more. Those austerities, this is the 18th stanza. Those austerities which are performed for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and a good name, done therefore for the sake of show, are mere ostentation, fitful and transitory. These are what are called rajasic. Tamasic austerities are performed without reasonable purpose, or perhaps for self-injury, or perhaps to inflict harm on others. Well, we're definitely not going to do tamasic austerities, but very often we take actions, we do austerities in order to gain respect or honor or good name in the eyes of other people. And that's not such a bad thing. Here Swamiji writes that Yogananda said, it's better to do good for the sake of praise than not to do good at all. So that's okay. But really we're trying to get to a place where we do austerities, and even austerity, we usually think of something that's difficult to do or that we don't want to do, or that where we're putting this grim effort at self-restraint. But what I read of all of the sattvic austerities, these actually should just be our natural nature, our natural offering up of the mind. I like these because in times of difficulty or where I just simply don't know what to do, I enjoy coming back to this chapter and just seeing, am I on track? Or there's a whole list of things that I can do. Obviously, we know that we need to meditate and do our Kriya Yoga and everything like that. But I like to see, am I being kind? Am I being serene? Do I have purity of heart? Am I being even-minded? Is my speech pleasant, truthful? Am I doing japa? In fact, Swami Kriyananda suggested the japa of Om Guru. Often, he said this is one of the highest mantras that we could chant. And it just is a whole long list to see, okay, well, what's the next right thing that should be done? And then, of course, these are sattvic actions, and that we are trying to come to a place beyond all three gunas, but let's face it, that might not be something that we can do just overnight. And so we want to make sure that whatever actions that we are doing, that they are sattvic actions, that we're living in this world not only to not cause harm to others, but to try to uplift others. And we can think of ourselves also as just one more person that we're trying to uplift. Swami Kriyananda used to say that Swami Kriyananda is an event that I am responsible for. And I didn't quite know what to make of that in the beginning, but it was his way of looking impersonally at the body that he had to carry around, that it was an instrument, not even for himself, but for God to work through at all times in order to uplift other human beings and do whatever Divine Mother wanted to be done on this planet at this time. I was having a conversation with a friend this morning, and she brought up this part in the book, God Alone, where Sister Gyanamata was writing. She wrote letters back and forth to Master. And I believe that Master had asked her to change her room. And I think she was a little bit hesitant to do that. But then she realized that she could not call absolutely anything her own, not even her bed or the little comforts that we have in life that we just typically think of as ours, and just a natural human right, that she had to be willing to see nothing as hers, and whatever Divine Mother wanted to take away, all right. Whatever Divine Mother wanted to give, all right. And it's not easy to practice non-attachment in this way, even in some of these things that seem like perfectly normal human desires. But if we watch our mind, if we watch our heart's feelings and look for where am I attached, then a great sense of freedom comes. And this freedom in God is much more beneficial, much more enjoyable than the little enjoyments we get by attachments to things in this world. Another practice, if ever I'm feeling hurt, rather than just blaming the world or blaming that person or whatever, I look at myself, what am I attached to? Or what am I holding on to? And it might be that, oh, I think that I'm good at this particular thing or that, or this person didn't give me the appreciation that I deserved in terms of this thing that I did or that. But I ask myself, is this helping? Or am I attached in some way, maybe some seva that I'm doing, or there's a particular thought of self in the way that I'm doing these things. And I say, do I like this suffering? And the answer, of course, is no. And then the next question is, well, can I give up this little self-definition or this attachment? And the answer is yes, of course, I want freedom. And now our subconscious mind is loaded with all of these different self-definitions that we have and different attachments. And as we try to pull them up, we realize they run deep. In the first Ananda ashram that I ever lived in, the manager there asked me to weed the garden. And I wanted to do a really good job. I really wanted to show that I was enthusiastic about living at Ananda. And I just felt, this is seva and I want to do a good job. So it was a very small little garden space. I don't know, maybe 4 feet by 6 feet or something. I don't know what it was. So I started pulling out this grass, but as I was pulling it out, I realized, well, it has roots. And if I don't pull out the entire root, that it's just going to grow back once we plant the vegetables. So I said, I'm going to do a really good job. And so I dug down maybe 1 foot. The roots were still there. I'm going to do a really good job. I dug down 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and I was standing in this hole. And I realized, well, we just have to be practical at some points in our gardening and in our seva. So I gave up the quest to destroy those particular roots of that grass at 4 feet of that hole I was standing in. And I put back in the soil and we made the garden patch. But much more important than grass and its roots, this story is to illustrate the depth of the roots of our attachments that are in our subconscious mind. And it takes great effort and great will to uproot these and to burn these. And of course, Kriya Yoga is the best way that we can purify ourselves and burn these subconscious attachments. Also, of course, the Guru's grace is invaluable, that we don't even really know the size of this battle until we make a determination that we're going to be happy under all circumstances. This list, basically, that I just read out, that we're going to be, let me just read it again, that we're going to have respect or veneration, give that deep respect to the devas, the priestly, the gurus, the wise, that we're going to be pure in heart, that we're going to be straightforward, that we're going to demonstrate sexual restraint, we're going to practice nonviolence. That as we put together that whole list, we realize, okay, well, maybe I wasn't as nonviolent as I could have been today, or that I wasn't as straightforward. And often we live in fear. I watch people sometimes just in dealing with money, that they just have fear and they don't just say what exactly happened. There's no need to have fear, that it's God who is watching everything. And we want to be pure in front of God. And He is the one ultimately who is the ultimate judge. And we don't even have to live that way. That He ultimately is our friend and just wants the best for us. We have nothing to hide in front of the gurus who have God realization and know everything anyways. And we have nothing to hide in front of God, that we are who we are. We have made mistakes, but we vow to do better in the future. And we must view the spiritual path as directional. None of us are perfect. In fact, I was talking about Sister Gyanamata. There we have a human who is already a saint, who's already a Jivan Mukta, and this is her final incarnation before she becomes an avatar, if she chooses to come back. I have no idea if she will. That's between her and Master. But before she's fully liberated, and yet she still has difficulties to work out. So even for her, it's directional. So even for us, it's going to be directional. And this is very important, because as long as we keep going in the right direction, eventually we will get there, that we will become more pure, we will become more sattvic. And as we become more sattvic, then we're able to reach up into the higher spiritual realms and eventually offer our ego back to Divine Mother. And I like, as Jyotishji often refers to, the spiritual path is dissolving the ego, because we also can see that it takes time. That usually we're not going to just in one grand act just completely cast the ego into God. That we're going to slowly merge. We're going meditation after meditation to feel God's presence more and more deeply and want to offer ourselves into that. I can't help saying it, but Ramakrishna Paramahansa used to say, a doll made of salt went to measure the depths of the ocean. And what made me think of that, obviously, is Jyotishji saying that we're going to dissolve this ego back into infinity, back into God consciousness. So we want to go measure the depths of the ocean. And the best way to do that is in meditation, where we learn to sit quietly and sit calmly. And again, let's face it, sometimes in meditation it's not so easy, that we're not so calm, that we feel restless. It's all right. You're not the first person to experience that. But again, we need to then ask ourselves, why am I feeling restless? Perhaps we've done too much seva. That can happen, and that we need to balance that out with more meditation. Perhaps we just have certain things within ourselves that have been stirred up, and we need to just offer those up and just let go of those. So we can let meditation be an act of offering up whatever is bothering us at that moment and simply letting it go, and simply learning how to become childlike, where we can feel that God is taking care of us. It's a strange thing, because usually when we say that, oh, God will take care of it, it sounds like a tamasic action. Great, I don't have to do anything. I'll just take a nap and God will take care of it. But it doesn't work that way. That if we try to just take a nap, well, God doesn't take care of it. That we have to take care of it. We have to let God take care of it, but we also have to do it. But we have to do it with Him. And this, in the beginning, is a little bit confusing on the spiritual path. But in the end, it becomes the most wonderful thing, because like a child, we can just offer everything back to God, offer all of our problems, ask God, how do you want me to get out of this one? Or how do you want me to respond? And then we learn to hear God's answer. And learning to hear that quiet little voice in meditation, it's so comforting, because then we know that we have our best friend who will never betray us, who will never leave us. And in this best friend of God, that we also have a true confidant, someone who's going, well, first of all, we can tell absolutely anything and everything, but then second of all, who's going to give us the right advice always. There's nothing like that. Because people who still have ego, they might give us the right advice. They might give us the wrong advice. And that's okay. It's good to go to others for advice. Even Swami Kriyananda, who could see it all, he still would go to others for advice. That he had a circle of friends that he would ask. That ego can be very tricky. And so having friends that we can rely on is a wonderful thing. And of course, if we feel, but I don't have friends that can give me perfect advice, or my friends sometimes aren't perfect, well, that if we want better friends, that we first have to give friendship. And the other day we did a satsang on, I called it LAD, loyalty, attunement, and devotion. And I don't have time to go into all of those, but Devarshiji was also speaking in that. And one of the cornerstones of friendship is loyalty, that we have to give loyalty to our friends. Um, Look, we're not going to win God's love by not being able to win the love of other human beings. That we have to, all of these divine qualities and friendship, like friendship, that we're trying to find in God, that we also have to manifest these, we have to attract these, we have to give and take with all of our friends, all of our associates, everyone that we deal with sounds like a strong word, like life is hard, but everyone that we associate with, everyone we come in contact with, that we have to find all of these qualities in these people. And ultimately, the more we find these qualities within ourselves, the more we can give these qualities to others. And the more, even the hard times in life, that it's all right. Look, you're not that physical body. You're not that whatsoever. And realizing that, well, then already there's a lot of freedom in that. But then, okay, well, even if I'm not this physical body, I still have a mind that's all over the place, and my emotions sometimes can be all over the place. Well, you're not that either. And we can learn how to gain control of it, and we can learn how to be free from these things. And the last point, use your will. That you have been given a God-given willpower, that in the end is infinite. Train it, use it, make it stronger and stronger, so that you can push out bad influences, mainly I mean within yourself, and that you can use your will to call more strongly to the good influences, to God. Don't think that there's nothing, or do think there's nothing that you can't do. Think, I can do anything. You can. Believe that, know that, and then grow that, and then ultimately use those newfound abilities to do more and more sattvic things, to bring yourself closer and closer to God, and use your newfound willpower to find God in this incarnation. There's nothing else really to do. So thank you all for inviting me. I was just there in Pune. I love Pune, obviously, and I have so many wonderful friends there, and it's a joy to be on the path with all of you. And I look forward to next time being with you online or coming in person again. So everyone, please have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you.